Welcome to the Hansi Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Friday, November 9, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 163. Nasdaq advanced decline differential closed at 13. We had three new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 19 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. For the volatility, 300,000 contracts traded on the VIX today with 39 million in total premiums paid. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in November, we saw 1.18 reading, which is neutral, with 60% of the total premiums paid. And in December, a 0.73, which is neutral, with 28% of the total premiums paid. Here we have the daily chart for SPX, and we are up 2.34 handles for the day. But the important thing here is that we are not able to close above the 200-day moving average here. As you can see, we failed. We were up intraday, but then we sold off into the close and finished lower. As for CI, you can see we are green now, but it's pointing lower, so we could see lower prices. As I mentioned yesterday, I see a target of 165 to 170. That's the target what I'm seeing on the short-term bounce once we get to this negative 3 sigma start to bounce here. Going to the weekly chart for SPX. Here we have the weekly chart. We have a horrible week. You can see here we broke 0 sigma to the downside, and now we're looking for maybe negative 2 sigma, which is at 1341, and CI is turning lower. We're looking for lower prices here still. Going to the moving averages chart. Here we have the daily chart for SPX, and as you can see here, we're clearly going lower. Trend line goes down, and we failed at the 200-day moving average today, which is bearish for the market. So we're looking for the target of 1360, 1365. That's gonna be our target. And if we go lower, maybe 1341. That's the retracement from the previous high, and also negative 2 sigma on the weekly chart. If we go to the weekly chart for the moving averages, here you can see our next target to the downside is going to be 1350. That's going to be the 55-week moving average, and the blue line, you can see it here. If we get some type of a bounce, maybe go to 1409, that's going to be the 20-week moving average, and we're going to move there. That's going to be some type of support resistance here, and some support on the downside. So 1350 is the longer term support, and we have this upward trend line here right now, so that's gonna be important to be respected if we want to draw it here. Here we have it. So that's important. We are right now at this support, but also we could draw it like this, which makes us believe we have still more room to go lower to our 1351 level. Now let's go to the SPY to get some targets here. And on SPY, we're looking for 135.30. That's going to be a critical level to hold, and that's the level I'm looking here. So any bounce should be sold until we break this trend that we're getting of lower highs here and lower lows on the downside. We are on that channel that you can see here on the weekly chart. On the longer term frame, you can still see we are on an uptrend. We're just getting some type of a correction from the previous high that we've made on the year. So not bearish, kind of a bear flag here on the weekly chart if you take a longer term look at it. So for the meanwhile, we're looking for 135 and then start to bounce higher. That would be a pretty constructive pullback for SPY. If we go to the Qs, here we have the Nasdaq Etf, and we are right now at the 50 moving average, and we must hold this level. If not, we're going to 60. Remember, I have a target of 62 and 60 on daily chart, so it looks like we're going to here 60 and then 60 here, 62, 60. After that, we could start seeing a bounce. This is the 100-week moving average, and this chart of course is getting very interesting here as we are seeing higher highs and higher lows. We want to hold this level here to avoid breaking this higher lows and make one lower. So that's going to be important here on the weekly chart for the Qs. As for the daily chart, we are clearly below the 200-day moving average. We broke it a couple of days ago. We've been selling off. Apple is not helping. Today Apple was up, which was positive, but looks like a dead cat bounce here. Maybe some profit taking or short covering, but we're looking still for 62 level. That's on the daily chart for the Qs. Going to the IWM, this is the Russell 2000 ETF, the risk on, risk off, and we are also at some confluence level here on the weekly chart. We have the 100-week and 55-week moving average right now, acting as some resist support here. So we want to hold this level, start turning, and go for the 82, 80 to 50 level here. We still have the same pattern, higher lows, and still if this one turns we would have the third higher low here, or even fourth if we take it back, so depends on how back you want to see it. On the highs we have not made higher highs basically, so we want to start making higher highs, go for 89 level on this leg up once it starts. But still the trend, short-term trend here is to the downside, so that's what we're looking here on IWM weekly chart. For the daily chart, pretty bearish pattern here, some type of a bounce today. We were up 0.25% for the day, but still look at this trend, it's going lower, and we're looking for this 74 level, which was 76 level, which was the previous lows here, and if we break those, come here to the 72.5, which was the lower low around this area in May. So that's what we're looking here on IWM. Now let's go to GLD, and here we have the daily chart, but let's start with the weekly chart. Weekly chart looks very positive here. You can see huge reversal of the 20 and 55 week moving average, and now we are closing higher for the week, which is good. We are now going to face this upward trend line, some type of small resistance here, and then we're looking for this one, which is a big one. That's going to be important around 174. We want to break that level and take out these previous highs that we had here. That's going to be very important, and then if we do that, we are looking for testing these highs that we've made here on this chart. Pretty bullish chart so far, holding and turning around the week, which was bearish at the beginning. For the daily chart, here you can see it, nice turnaround of the 200-day moving average, and we close basically at the 55-day moving average, so that's not bad. We just take some type of a breather today. 21 cents lower for the day. We just want to continue to go higher. The trend right now is to the upside. We took out this previous high here, and now we're making higher highs. So previously we were bearish here on GLD until the 200-day moving average, and now we're looking for a retest of the 74 level, 174. Last chart we're gonna look at is SLV. Let's start with the weekly chart for silver. Here we have the weekly chart for silver. Pretty bullish chart also here on the weekly. We did not make the low here, so we're just starting to go higher this trend line here. We're looking for 32.31, and that would be some type of resistance, and then we want to take out this previous highs around 34. Very important here, we are on a longer term channel. You can see it here, and on the downside we are also here, so we want to break this channel. That would put us go around to 41. That's the length of the channel, 10 more points, and it would take us to 44, 43, which was this previous high here after this big sell-off we had here. So that would be pretty bullish if we're able to take these highs and just let it run to the upside. That's on the weekly chart, of course, a longer time frame. On the daily chart, it was important today that we took off this previous high. We talked about it yesterday, took it off, and now the trend line is to the upside. We are going to face some resistance at 31.91. That is the 55-day moving average. After we break that, we're looking at a 34 as our next target, and as I just mentioned, if we take this 34, looking at 40, 44 level, so pretty big range after that, and that's what we're looking here on silver. Let's go for the VIX, and let's look at our Sigma channels chart. Here we have the weekly chart for the Sigma channel. We have a candlestick here. This is a hammer, pretty bullish hammer on the weekly chart for the VIX, which leads us to believe that we are going to go higher on the VIX. 21, 22 was the level I was talking about, and I still want to see those levels bring some volatility back into the market, and maybe end the selling off with a spike here on the VIX. As for the daily chart, we continue to be around the 200-day moving average, basically flat today, a little bit higher, but we want to see this 2130 positive 3 sigma and even 22 on the VIX. That would be a very good flush for the week longs on the equities, and then would be a nice entry point. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your HAMC Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you Monday.